Have you ever been like, damn, I wish I could hang out with my friends right now, but I have tires for hands, and that makes things impractical as fuck. You would have had that thought if you were a native to the Cars universe, where cars are people, and presumably people have been vanquished. This 2006 movie has really raised more questions than I think was ever intended, because there is no way that they ended up having some kind of conversation about how the internals of the cars worked in the Cars movies, and they went, yeah, this sounds about right. I just watched this movie again on the weekend and wanted to run down some of the mechanics of the Cars universe. The first one being, how do cars travel? Yeah, they drive everywhere, but like, they can't drive over water. I did write this question before realizing that there's an entire trilogy of these movies, and the sequel to this is entirely based around how Lightning McQueen has to go in a race overseas for the Grand Prix, or as some people say it, the Grand Prix. To get to Japan in the movie, they take a plane, which is a regular sentence until you realize that the plane is also alive, inspiring the nowhere near as successful spin-off movie, Planes. So the cars drive inside of a plane and treat the inside of it worse than any plane that I have ever seen. Like, I've never seen such a mess caused, and this is a living being they're doing it inside of. Like, I can't stress that enough. Like, this is an actual living thing that they're just driving and parking inside of while they're flying overseas. And it's not like it's an attachment to the plane or anything like that. It is just inside of the whole living thing, which I guess just implies that, like, these planes just have a massive empty void inside of them, and I felt that. I felt a bit out of my depth talking about how the planes actually worked in this universe, so I went to a post called In-Depth Analysis / Rant About the Cars Universe. I wanted to see what the guy who wrote it had to say about what canon the Planes universe introduces into the Cars universe, but when he was asked if he had seen them, the reply was, I'd rather choke than watch those films. So in the first movie, trains exist. We see one carrying cargo around. So I guess it's kind of like Thomas the Tank Engine rules. The head of the train is alive, and then the rest of it is just like a backpack that he's carrying around. Until you think about passenger trains, which probably also just have a massive hole inside of them. And I felt that. Another thing I didn't even think about was boats. Now, apparently they made a spin-off movie of boats, but it was really bad and nobody watched it. But I guess it would just kind of be the same. There's like cargo boats and there's also passenger boats. But really, at the core of all of this, there is one major question. How do cars come into being? In some way or another, these two are fucking.
Ramon, Mama ain't seen you that low in years.
How though? Based on some extremely graphic Rule 34 that I saw, it's the exhaust. The exhaust is a broad term used for just the reproductive organ. So it can extend like this. Yes, this is a real Rule 34 image that I hope is obscure enough to be able to just exist on YouTube fine without any issues. Or the hole in the exhaust is used as somewhere to put the exhaust. That uncensored is one of the most cursed things I've ever seen. So I guess they can have sex, but apparently there are no baby cars in the entire Cars universe, so I just mentally scarred myself by seeing those images for no reason. The closest thing to a definitive answer that we can get on how cars are made in this universe comes from a man named Jay Ward, who is the creative consultant and creative director in the Cars franchise. He's quoted as saying, if you think about this, we have autonomous car technology coming in right now. It's getting to the point where you can sit back in the car and it drives itself. Imagine in the near future when the cars keep getting smarter and smarter, and after one day they just go, why do we need human beings anymore? They're just slowing us down. It's just extra weight. Let's get rid of them. But the car takes on the personality of the last person who drove it. Whoa. There you go. I really like this explanation. Something about it just, it feels like correct to me in some kind of way. And it just walks that line of believability where I can read that and go, yeah, I'll take that at face value. That's pretty good. So I will. But there is one last thing that I want to hone in on in these movies. And I feel like it's going to go a long way to really solidify why our worlds are so similar. In the Cars universe, was there a Cars Holocaust? I'm going to go back to that Reddit post that I mentioned earlier and just read the first paragraph of it verbatim, because I don't think that there's any better way of explaining the possibility of it than what I've got in front of me. One of the main characters, Sarge, is a World War II veteran from the Battle of the Bulge. His mere existence confirmed World War I, World War II, the Cold War, the Vietnam War, the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, the Russian Revolution, and everything else that spawned from those events, and all of the influential figures in those events. Car Hitler, Car Stalin, Car Lenin, Car Castro, Car JFK, and more. If World War II happened, we can probably safely assume that a very similar set of circumstances led us to the point of the Second World War, which, based on that, says to me that an extremely similar set of circumstances probably happened during and after the Second World War. So yes, there was almost certainly a car holocaust. Following this same line, there was also certainly a Cars Korean War, a Cars Vietnam, Car JFK being assassinated, Cars Rwandan genocide, and more than likely a Cars 9/11. In Cars 2, cars are seen taking off their tires while going through TSA at the airport. If tires are to cars what shoes are to us, then this implies the existence of car terrorism. As we take our shoes off due to the failed shoe bomber in December of 2001, and the existence of the TSA implies the existence of Cars 9/11, as the Transport Security Act was passed in 2001 in a further response to 9/11. Somehow he makes sense. The evidence is all right in front of you. I don't think there's anything that I could say that will help push this point in further. I don't need to keep going here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you learned about this fun, silly, goofy little movie that helps you escape our reality for an hour and 50 minutes. I just realized that there was probably car racism as well. I feel like if I don't stop soon, I'm going to spiral. Subscribe.